शुक्लां भरदरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुस्साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। Om Shri Sai Ram. Thank you, everyone. First of all, I wanted to thank you for the wonderful introduction, brother. So, appreciate that. I also wanted to apologize to Swami for a couple of things. First of all, I wrote a scribble and I didn't realize that I was going to present it to Swami. I just wrote it. But if I knew that, I would have done a better job of writing. And then a second apology is, Swami, please forgive me for any sins that I have committed knowingly, unknowingly. So, Swami, and thank you for your grace. So, there's a story behind those two apologies. I just wanted to start with Chinna Kada because I used to be SSC teacher for Group 1. There is a guy named Pushpadant, I heard. So he has done the penance, and then he did such a penance, and then Lord Shiva came to him. And then Lord Shiva asked, hey, you did a good job. What do you want? And then he asked Lord Shiva, Swami, please forgive me, I committed 2 sins. So he said, yeah, that's fine, tell me. So what is the first sin? So the Pushpadanta said, oh Lord, in my previous life, I have committed so many sins that please forgive me for that. So Lord Shiva was puzzled, obviously, or maybe he was playing with the devotee. He asked, how did you know about your previous life? So the Pushpadanta apparently said, oh Lord, the fact that I'm standing here, I'm talking to you, only because I've committed sins in my previous life. So Lord Shiva was very pleased with that answer. Okay, very good. You did a good job. So I forgive you for the first sin. And then subsequently, he asked for, Lord Shiva asked him for the second sin. What is it? So Pushpadanta said, oh Lord, for the next life, I'm going to ignore you and commit any sins. If I do, please forgive me for that. And Lord Shiva was puzzled. Now you're crossing the line. Because how do you know about your future life? So the Pushpadanta said, oh Lord, I don't have a second life. I don't have a future life. That's why I'm asking for that as insurance. So, such is the confidence of the Pushpadanta that he knew that he was going to attain moksha in this life itself. So that's a Chinna Kada that I wanted to share. There's also a couple of things that the reason for I was chanting Ganesha because there are a couple of secrets in Puttaparthi I wanted to share. Some of you might be knowing. When you go to the Ganesha gate, you see the beautiful Sai Ganesha, the mandir, and many people doing prostration, prayers, and doing all that. One of the secrets somebody told me, I think it might be my dad or my mom, I couldn't remember. If you pray to Sai Ganesha and ask for blessings so that Swami, you can have a better darshan with Swami. So it's like you start with Ganesha and then you can have a darshan with Swami and then you get through all these obstacles that you have beautiful darshan of Swami. And then another secret that maybe some of you know, whenever you have problems in life and then you go to Puttaparthi and ask Swami for blessings, and the easiest way that blessings reach to Swami is you pray to Mother Ishwarama, go to Ishwarama Samadhi and do the prostration or the circumambulation and then pray to Ishwarama, Mother Ishwarama, that Swami listens to his mother so closely, everything that we know, that your wish even becomes more solid and Swami helps you resolve that issue. So these are the two secrets I learned from my childhood, from my mom and dad, so I wanted to share. So, having said that, there is so much grace Swami has given through to me and to my family. So I wanted to share some of those experiences or the grace that Swami has showered on us. The first slide, that picture, I wanted to share that is a picture that's used to be like in our old home in Wisconsin. It's called Waukesha. So that's where we lived about 25 years. And that picture came to my house through my sister, and it was none of my effort. And then that came and she installed it on the wall, and that was my housewarming gift from my sister, who came to India about like couple of weeks before. And then she had that installed, and then that picture was there forever. So in this couple of things that came to my mind, that was effortless. I didn't put any effort. My sister chose to bring it there. So throughout my life, that's a reflection. To be honest, I didn't put much effort, but Swami chose to come to me or to my family. I think most of you can correlate. The fact that we are all here, Swami is making himself available for us. Like he is coming to us, even despite lack of effort in some cases. That picture is a reflection of that. And then I also want to correct my name for the sake. My name most popularly is called Vijay, but actually my original name is Vijayasarathi. So one of the SAI uncle told me, you should start calling yourself Vijayasarathi, because Vijay means victory, but Vijayasarathi means the lord of the victory, the driver or the charioteer of the victory. So you should identify yourself with the highest form. So ever since I started using the name Vijayasarathi, not shortcutting my name. So a couple of those learning experiences. So if you can. So that's my grandmother and grandfather. So they are the one who introduced Sathya Sai Baba to our family. None of us family members or relatives knew anything about Sathya Sai Baba, let alone Shirdi Sai Baba. So they had so many miracles. So this is in 70s, early 70s. So my father and grandma, they came to a town. They were agrarians. They were in a small little village. They were well-to-do. And then they also came to a town for kids. And then, so they started having a bhajan group. So just like, satsang with some friends. So they started a bhajan group at the time. And they were singing, Panduranga bhajans. They were singing the Bhajanavali book, and they didn't know much about Swami, but they were singing the bhajans regularly. So that's how they started their journey. And they had such a beautiful group at the time. And so every week they would go and do this bhajan and arati and everything as regularly. So I would say my grandfather, to be honest, was way ahead of his time with Swami's grace, because back in those days, in this town, I know, even when I grew up, there was not a lot of awareness of Shirdi Sai or Sathya Sai Baba. Some people knew him, but he was not at the level of where, people understood him to be who he is. So at that time, he was considering my grandfather and his group, they were considering Baba as God. That's like, it was immense blessings on them. So one time, they went to a trip to western part of India. So they went like 7 or 8 families. They went to Bombay, they went to Pandharpur, and they also went to Shirdi as a trip. So during that time, my grandfather also had apparently had some miracle too. So in the trip and entourage, he was missed, and then in that frantic time I call, he was trying to search for other people, and it's a new place, and then he got stuck between the two buses apparently, and the one bus was moving, and he was almost about to get crushed, and he was searching for the people. He wasn't paying attention. So suddenly, some guy with a white dress, he came like a tall man, and then he came and he pulled him out of that incident, and then as soon as my grandfather was just getting about trying to understand what's going on, that man disappeared. So that itself for him, that was a validation. Okay, so Swami came and rescued me. So these guys went to Shirdi. They had a beautiful darshan, and then subsequently they decided on the fly to purchase a statue of Shirdi Sai Baba. So it's probably about this size, about the size of this height. So they purchased it as a group because they were doing Bhajan Mandali, and they wanted to have a temple built for him. So that was Swami's blessings right there. So they took this statue, and then they went back to our town. It's called Nagar Karnool. So it's about 100 kilometers from Hyderabad. So they wanted that Sathya Sai Baba, Bhagwan Sri Sathya Sai Baba would come and inaugurate this, the temple. They haven't even built the temple. So they put the statue in a storage room, and they happened to have a Swami's picture, just like one of those Swami's picture, and they were doing that bhajan. So meanwhile, they also went to Puttaparthi, several times, and they requested Swami, please come to our town, please inaugurate this temple and do the consecration. So Swami would always say, yes, I will come. But he has never, we never know Swami's ways, right? So they were waiting and waiting. This happened for 3 years. But they kept continuing the bhajans and continuing, puja and abhishekam and all that to the picture, not the statue, because that was not consecrated yet. So subsequently, in 1979, Swami came to Hyderabad. In Hyderabad, the center of Swami's activity, it's called Shivam. In Chennai you have Sundaram. In Bombay you have Dharmakshetra. In Bangalore you have Vrindavan. Similarly, Hyderabad has a place called Shivam, and that is the seat of Swami's love, basically. So Shivam is the main center, and always Swami would come and visit in summers, mostly around Sri Ramanavami time. So he would visit, and so same thing, he would give darshan and help people and all that. So again, they went this time, that year, 1979, and they again requested Swami. And Swami came outside, on the on the porch or something, and then he talked to them, and he said, I will come, and I am coming, something like that. So they knew that Swami is coming somehow. And then they went back and made the arrangements in the town, and on that day, I do not remember the exact day, but on that day, Swami did come, the whole entourage from Hyderabad, and they came to this town called Nagar Karnool. So this is also recorded in a book. Later, subsequently, 20 years, recently, 20 years ago, I remember reading a book, and this whole incident is recorded in the book as well. But nevertheless, it was a huge blessing. This part of Telangana is a little bit remote. It's not far from Hyderabad, but still it's remote. And not a lot of awareness about either Shirdi Sai Baba or Sathya Sai Baba, like I said earlier. But that day, the whole town came. It was like a huge festival, and I was about 8 years old, like a third grader. So Swami came, and the temple was built, and I think if you can go to the next slide. Yeah. So you see where Swami is standing. So behind that is the Swami's main mandir, and there's a big hall, and then in that hall, in the one corner, one side, the temple is installed, constructed. So Swami came, And then these guys, they went to the storeroom and they lifted this statue of Shirdi Sai Baba, and it was pretty heavy apparently. And many people needed, like, 5 or 6 people, big, well-built guys had to lift that statue, and they all came. In this picture, in the left corner, in the bottom left corner, that's my father. He was not much into Sathya Sai Baba, but Swami is in our family, because of my grandfather. And he was a youth coordinator at the time. So he was helping, he was a helper. Similarly, there was other youth coordinators. Like, one of the brothers, Sujivan, you all know, his dad is also a youth coordinator at the time. So these guys were all the helpers, with the activities. And then Swami called in my dad, and then there was another uncle, and then those two inside that mandir. And then there was this guy, we call them Mestri, the guy who puts the cement mixture and do the installation, right? He was there inside, and Swami was there inside. So these 4 people, as you can see, that room doesn't fit a lot of people, because you have Swami's statue once installed, there is not a lot of room in front. Even today, that is like that. That construction was. So at the time, Swami, the Swami did like a materialization, like in front of them. Like, he did like this, and out came a copper yantra. We call that as yantra. It's like a copper plate, square plate. It had some inscriptions on it. And then Swami placed that in the, where the statue were to be consecrated. And then he asked my father and the other uncle to lift the Swami's statue. And literally these two lifted and then placed it on the, the pedestal, right? And then Swami put the cement first round. And then the Mestri was, he did the rest of the installation of the thing. So first of all, so that miracles, my father was touched because, he never saw anything like, in front of him being like materialized. And secondly, later on they realized this statue was lifted from the room. There were 5 or 6 big people were needed to lift. But here, this just my dad and the other uncle, these two were able to lift it and put it there. That itself, they didn't realize at the time, but later on they were like, everyone was kind of, surprised. So such is the Swami's miracle. He can do anything. More importantly, Swami's commitment. 3 years ago, like I said, when my grandfather and his all Bhajan Mandali group, he's not alone, but part of this group, when they requested, Swami said, I will come. One of the most important thing I wanted to say is, when Swami says, Swami makes that happen. Either because he says it happens, either because he wanted to do, we don't know. The mystery is, Swami, whatever the word Swami says, it happens. That's the message that I keep hearing throughout my learning, through Sai Center or through other experiences. So Swami proved that's the case here, right? So yeah, so one more thing that on this one. So at the time, the whole town came. Other thing, that most important thing that you have to realize, up until that point, it was more devotional activity. Swami, like people doing bhajans, people doing devotional activity, Vishnu Sahasranamam, it was more like that, more vibration, energy. Once Swami came and did that, the Samiti has grown so huge. Now even today, the Samiti activities, they perform Swami service activities so nicely. Like, there's so many people now. It's a big Samiti, and they go to all the villages. They perform, like a Gram Seva. They do medical camps. They do like Annadanam. So I know several activities. This all happened right after Swami came and consecrated the temple. So now he transformed them from a devotional activity into a service-oriented Samiti. Because service is at the heart of Swami, and he always talks about, right? So such was a huge transformation. Even now, like I know one I was talking to Sujivan uncle's dad, and he mentioned, they go to a general hospital in the town. There are many times, I don't know, unlike here, in India, when a patient comes, he doesn't come alone. He comes with family members, right? And then they are supporting. All the family members would support the patient, and so they need food as well. So these guys always go and scramble. Sometimes they are poor people, sometimes they cannot afford, sometimes they don't have time. So these guys from Samiti, they go to the hospital, they cook the food, and they serve the food right there. They call Narayana Seva. So they are doing that. They have been doing that, and they are doing that. They are growing that. And they have collected funds to even to make sure that that program doesn't stop, managing the program. So this is just one instance. I know they have done so many activities. Like any other samitis, Swami's center of message is service, serving the mankind, right? So all this happened with Swami's presence and Swami's consecration of the temple. Again, I'm going back to my word. I don't know that if Swami plans all this in ahead, that it has to happen, or I don't know that his pure commitment and pure, what do you call the term, his intention is so pure that he does something and it materializes into, unfolds into a beautiful, beautiful lotus flower, example. I don't know, that's a mystery, or I don't know, it's beyond my comprehension, but whatever Swami does, it kind of unfolds into a very, very beautiful thing over a period of time. So this is another experience that I took it from that. So that's my sister. She graduated and from Swami's Anantapur College. So in between, I have to talk about my parents. So like I said, my father wasn't earlier connected, but this incident in the temple, that previous example I've shown, he started having more connection with Swami. So they used to visit Puttaparthi, and they were getting Pada Namaskar and all the blessings and everything. And then right around the time the service activity started in the Samiti, so it was my father, my mother, and Sujivan brother's father and Sujivan brother's mother. These four were given the scarves, Sevadal scarves. These were the first one to enroll, and the first two families. And then later on, now I said, there are tons of Sevadal members. So that is how their journey started into Swami service. So he has become officially Swami Sevadal member. So my dad, mom would go every year 3 times to Puttaparthi, and there is this Parthi Yatra, right? In November service, during the birthday, thousands of people come. So there is this Sevadal activity, all the activity in Prashanti Nilayam, right? So they are part of that. And similarly, they go in January again, and they go in April again. So it's 3 times a year, right? Particularly in November, they go in November 1st and through end of November. Pretty huge, Puttaparthi, we all know that Prashanti Nilayam is the most busiest place in November. But every year they go as part of the Samiti group, and they do serve until the time that they could. So during this time, one of the time, Anantapur College was inaugurated. I do not remember the year, but Anantapur Women's College was inaugurated. So as a Sevadal member, my father went there as well. So the inauguration was grand, and Swami came, and the whole college was initiated and everything. So at the time, my sister was very young, maybe I don't know, 5-6 years or something. So my father prayed, in his heart, Swami, you're building this beautiful college for women. I wish you would enroll my daughter into this someday. So that was his wish. So long time ago, right? And then later on, my sister in 1983, she graduated her, the 10th class, and then for her junior, she got admitted into Anantapur College. So Swami makes, when you have a pure intention, and when you make a wish, Swami makes sure that it happens. I guess in this case, that's. And then there was a small drama there as well. Like apparently she got admission in the college, but she did not get the admission in the hostel. So, so my father tried to meet the warden. Mom and dad went to the warden, and warden was very strict. Her name, like they say, her name is Jayamma auntie. So Jayamma auntie was very strict and very stern. Like, so she would say, "Don't bring any recommendations to me. I don't like it." So my father and mom, they wanted my sister to be inside the hostel, but they didn't have a choice. So they put her in outside hostel, which is nearby apparently, and then she would be just coming for the college inside. But deep in their heart, they were like kind of, they wanted to have Swami's integrated education, and then all this hassle of crossing the road and going to this and staying outside. They were worried about the influences from outside and all that. And then again they met the Jayamma auntie, and so they asked her, if there is any room. And then again her answer was same, don't even bring Swami's recommendation. I'm not going to do it. So such was her strictness, But then my dad explained, I prayed to Swami. Even if you don't give, Swami will make it happen. This is what my dad did apparently, said. I don't know what happened, but after later, like maybe a week later or whatever, she said, okay, I will take it. But on one condition. Your daughter needs to follow all these guidelines. These are very strict guidelines. I am going to keep a close watch on her. My dad said, I love it. We'll take it. So my sister was hesitant, like she didn't know, how strict it is and all that. But mom and dad convinced her, and she was there. As a little kid, I also used to go. They wouldn't let any boys inside, but I was either middle school or early high school, so they would let me. But I felt like I was watched like an alien, like one boy in the hostel. Like I was watched so like alien. Like I was like, you can't go this, you do this, you don't do this, all that. But it's a women's college. Swami maintained a very strict guidelines around, right? So later on, there is a commonly known relative who used to live in Puttaparthi at the time. And then Jayamma auntie and their team would visit Puttaparthi, right, occasionally to Swami activities. So one of the time that Jayamma auntie and this relative of my parents, they happened to meet. And then subsequently Jayamma auntie has mentioned to that relative, and then later on my parents came to know that she said she was very strict and very hard on my sister, but it turned out that my sister was the finest behaved kid in that batch that she knew. So she was very appreciative of my sister, and then she was telling that, she's such a wonderful kid, and I'm very happy for her. So my sister subsequently, my mom and dad also learned this, and they were very happy. So they thought that all of this is Swami's play, and then Swami has ensured that, the prayers are answered, and Swami has ensured that she's in a good place and everything. So that is her picture, like the graduation, from Swami. The next picture I'll show you. In the second row, 1, 2, 3, 4 from left. I can't see from here, but he's the third. I think third one from left. I couldn't see. That's my niece, my sister's daughter. So she also graduated. She did her MBA around 2021 or something. So she graduated. What I'm trying to show in this picture is, if you do your prayer right, if you ask Swami the right thing with a pure intention, he's not taking care of your daughter. He's taking care of the daughter's daughter as well. You see that, right? So generations to come, he's going to help you. That's the most important message I took it out of that. So such is Swami's love. So if you make your wish, your thing so pure, and Swami will take care of that. So, all right. So now I will move forward. In 1997, I moved to United States. Like I came on work, and I was a bachelor. There was a period of time I was adolescent. I wasn't connected to Swami. I knew Swami was God, and we always talk about Swami in phone, everything. My mom and dad would tell me they went to Parthi, all that. But I never myself did any effort in terms of connecting myself. So subsequently, my sister came to United States. My brother-in-law got a job here in 2002 or 3, I think. And then she started searching for SAI Center in Milwaukee. That's how we started going to SAI Center in Milwaukee. My initial job was purely a transporter. Like, I wasn't fully connected. I was fully like young boy, bachelor, and I was like purely trying to learn new things, trying to live and in American ways, but mostly trying to just not so much spiritual. Even occasionally would go to temple or anything, something like that. But my initial thing started to transport my sister and my little niece. The niece picture that you've seen earlier. That was my job. Because it was half-an-hour drive in Milwaukee, so I would drive them to SAI Center, and then we would attend the bhajan because I was a Bal Vikas student as a child, SSC student, and then subsequently again we would come back. So this happened like few times, like maybe few months. I didn't even talk to anyone in the center. I didn't make any connections, but I would pray to Swami and then come. And then my niece joined the SSC classes there. But it so happened that, after 3-4 months, something happened. People started inviting me for service activities. People started inviting me for, any special home bhajans. So there was so much love they were sharing. Then all my ignorance got shed, and then I started interacting more, and subsequently we started, going, and so I'm talking about 2005. And then we left Wisconsin in about 2023. We've never stopped going to SAI Center. So all this is because my sister's presence and my sister being an Anantapur College student, and she truly connected to Swami. She was immensely helpful for me to connect back to Swami. So in my life, these are the special people because. Like I said, my grandfather, my father, and my sister. So all these people are, whether I am not following or whether I am off the path or on the path, but these guys help me ensure that I connect back to Swami. So that's why they are. Anyone who helps you in your life, to the God, you can consider them. They are the most special people in your life. There are, many aspects, but God is your ultimate friend, and who helps you get back into that track. So you should have your utmost respect for them. So yeah, these pictures are from 2010. We had a pilgrimage from USA at the time, and we were immensely fortunate. Swami blessed. People come from Dallas, people from all regions came, and at the time, so we all were in Prashanti for 10 days, and participated in many activities. The love that was shown on the USA team, and we were all going in Kulwant Hall having darshans. If you realize, this is 2010, and Swami has left his physical body in 2011. So we are talking less than a year period. This is July of 2010, and Swami passed away in his physical presence 2011 April. So you can think, this is towards the tail end of his physical body, right? But he would still ensure every morning, every evening darshan, he would come, despite his physical, issues, right? Such is a love for his devotees. He, till the last breath, he was serving constantly. So there were times Swami would come a little bit late. Swami known for, particularly very strict on the timings, when he come, when he goes, when the bhajan happens. But there were times Swami would come late. You can imagine in Kulwant Hall, we would go at 2 o'clock for evening darshan. We would go 2:30. We'll form the line and all the way from North Block, and then we'll go and sit in Kulwant Hall, and then Rudram, the Vedam starts, right? So sometimes we would go 2 o'clock or 2:30, I couldn't remember, and then by the time Swami comes, Harati happens, and we take, sometimes prasadam is distributed, and we take darshan. We go back to, it will be about 8:30. So we're talking about 6 hours. There were times, 6 hours we are sitting in the Kulwant hall. Maybe initially, like first half an hour, we may be stressed out, moving our legs, stretching our legs, and all that. But that 6 hours was like nothing. Like, we would come home, have dinner, and then ready for the next day. So such was the presence in Kulwant Hall, the beauty, that we won't even feel that, Despite, physically it's not easy. I had my son, he was like about 18 months. Sometimes he would sit on the lady's side, mom's side, but sometimes I would take him because, some Sevadal members would object, he's a boy, send with dad, and then he would come with me. So 6 hours sitting there in the Kulwant Hall, hard floor, and then he would be sitting on my lap. So I don't know, it's almost feels impossible, like for me, considering now I'm 53-year-old. But Swami makes things like so smooth, so easy for all of us, right? And more than that, the peace and the love that you get from his presence. So this was the last day. Swami gave darshan. He came. He asked us to sit in the center aisle. Some of you might remember there is, near the Swami's where the samadhi is. There's the center aisle. So he asked all the team to come and sit there, and he came very near to us, and he talked to some of us, and so we were like waiting for this. Right from we were doing sadhana to go to Parthi like a month ago or 2 months ago. Right from that, and we were waiting for this event to happen. There were times we were wishing, if Swami would give an interview or something, right? So, but this was such a beautiful moment. We were all waiting, and Swami gave, his closest presence to us, and he talked to us, and he asked some of us where we are from. And he even had asked us what is the agenda and what are we doing on that day, cultural program and devotional singing, all that. So beautiful memories. So in that, I remember my child was sleeping at the time when Swami came. I was a bit disappointed. I wish he had seen Swami and stuff. And then the commotion starts, right? Swami comes and everyone is getting alert and all that. I didn't try to wake him up. But right around the time Swami came, and Anish wakes up, and he stands in my lap. And then he looks around, and he sees Swami, and he points at, "That's Baba," he says. So I was like a bit embarrassed. In Kulwant Hall, you don't talk, you don't say anything, right? But this is a child. And then Swami turned like this and looked at him. So that was enough for me, So... So that was a beautiful moment, and very memorable. And subsequently, we also had a pilgrimage in 2016. There was another pilgrimage. This time, Archita was a baby, so only Anish and I went this time. He was a big boy. Now he was listening and he was helping and all that. So that's another beautiful experience I had. So talking about, I'll talk about the right side picture. My dad, like I said, just like I mentioned when he took the Sevadal activity, right? Up until the time, my dad, 70, he passed away at 78, 79. But up until 76 or 75, he was still serving. He was Sevadal member. And his ears, he has a hearing issue that at the time, in 70s he started, his hearing went low, like he can't hear. So there is a time where he said, he still wanted to do it, but his hearing was preventing it. And the role that my dad used to do, he was the Sevadal member at the security gate. Right, in the Gopuram, near the Gopuram, there is a security gate. And then they will note down all the car plates, number plates, and they will take the call, and then allow the VIPs in, and and then all that security activity. My dad was part of that throughout. Always, he would be given that, and he has made friends, so many friends, throughout. And then because his hearing was getting hard, he said, I don't want to do it because I don't want to cause problems to Swami. If I didn't hear and somebody says something and then I understood it wrong and then I let some wrong people in, it causes problems. So he said, that is the time he said, no, it's time for me to retire. So he was felicitated by his Samiti, when he's finally, winded up his Sevadala activity. So such a long association with Swami. So that's another beautiful moment, and Swami made sure that he was felicitated for his activity. And then the other picture in the Gopuram, I had this picture around 2021 or so. This is probably my last picture maybe of my dad and I. But those were a little bit tough times. I'll come to that. But I would go to the next slide and come back if you don't mind. So this is around 2021 as well. Around Dasara time, it's so coincidental that now Navaratri is coming, and I wanted to share this experience. Right around this time, the COVID was in peak, right? And here in Waukesha, we were safe. We were four people, and nobody would come to our house. We don't go anywhere. And I was a SSC coordinator at the time. And then we had all the SSC kids on the Zoom call, and then we were doing all the SAI activities were going just as usual, but except it was going on virtual Zoom call. In fact, SSC presence was 100% during those days. The SSC kids were all the kids. Like I've never seen any kid dropped during that time. That was Swami's made sure that the kids attended, and he ensured that his grace is flowed, and he secured, he protected them during that time, right? I felt that way. So during that time, during around Navaratri or so, we just talked, like we said, we were leading a very comfortable life. The rest of the world is all the COVID going on. People, we are hearing all the bad news all around, but we were safe. And then my mom and dad were safe. Vishala's mom and dad were safe. All the known relatives, everybody's safe. Then we said, why don't we just pray for Swami to get this thing, the COVID thing out, right? Just our little contributions to that. So at the time we were doing this Kunkuma Puja, and every day we chant. So that 9 days we did that. And before I do the prayer, I would add a qualifier. Swami, please, I'm not doing this anything for me. Don't even bother about us, but do something for the world. So that was a prayer. And then we do our chanting and all that. So one of the day, we saw, this Swami's materialization of Vibhuti in our house. So more importantly, even when God comes, I think we got to be prepared. We weren't. So at the time, one of the day, when Vishala went into the puja room, it was upstairs. It was a bedroom. We converted into a puja room. It was a northeast corner. It's upstairs. So we usually don't go. Either we go in the morning or we go in the evening or sometime. And then she went to clean up or something, and then she noticed this. Her first reaction was that kids did something. And then first thing she did was she called me, Yemandi, come. I'm working. I'm working downstairs and remote working, right? That's about the time we started remote working. And I came rushing, and she showed me, some kids did some nonsense here. They threw Vibhuti, see here. And then I came close, and I said, oh, wow. So and I called my son. And he said, what? And I realized, no, he didn't. And then I asked him, I grilled him a few times. And he's not that guy. He's an SSC kid. He knows the value of Swami. He may do some tantrums with us, but with Swami activity, with Swami, I knew he would never do anything like that. Then we called our daughter. She's like, same thing. What's happened? What? Why are you calling us? What's happening? And then we showed. They were like, oh, who did that? Well, if 4 of us didn't, then who did that? Because it's a COVID time. Nobody else would come to our house. We wouldn't go anywhere, right? So it took us, what I'm saying is Swami showed his presence, but it took us some time for us to understand that he even showed up his presence. So for 15 minutes, we were arguing with each other. You did it, you did it, you did it. But after 15 or 20 minutes, we all fell silent. And then when we were silent, we realized Swami truly came. And more than that, you can see there, Swami did a little play there. He materialized the vibhuti as like, must be. And then he used his fingers and then he brought it closer. And then not only that, he wrote the letter SAI. We didn't even realize when we were arguing. Only when we took a close attention, you can see the letters SAI written on it. So we were utterly shocked. I mean, in a happy way. We were like utterly, So such was the Swami's beautiful presence, and we even saw the kunkuma was blessed too. There was a little bit kunkuma down there in the altar, and then we saw it was being pressed. So we took it as a blessing. The message is, I'm not so much talking about miracle. I know that many people have said, materializing of vibhuti or honey or nectar and things like that. For me, my personal experience was twofold. One, if you do something for Swami, selfless, which in that case we did actually. Most of the time I don't. Whenever I pray to Swami, I may ask for samasta loka sukhino bhavantu, but there is some little bit, Swami, please help my kids, please do this, please do that. But in that particular case, we did it for the world, and Swami loved it. Maybe he showed his presence. So I took it as that. And number two, he prepared us for what was upcoming. I think he did prepare us for what was upcoming. So those two lessons I took it from that. But it's a beautiful experience, and for all the things that Swami is taking care of, he's showing his presence. He's always there with us, and so that was a beautiful experience. So I would go back to the previous slide, but I'm also check on the time. Are we 5 minutes, 2 minutes? Okay, I'll conclude. So 2021 later, my sister passed away, and then 2022 my dad passed away. So it was utterly devastating experience for us. But I think the presence that I was explaining that slide, Swami was preparing us, and so it was pretty tough. It was hugely tough because two strong people who had absolutely Swami's thoughts, and absolutely in their thought, word, deed is Swami for them. So losing them was pretty devastating. But Swami was preparing us for that, I guess. So with that, I will conclude. All I wanted to say was, Swami says this word, right? Ni inta, venta, ni janta, ni kantane untanu, which means in Telugu, that translating in English, Swami is there always with us. It's just we have to start seeing his presence more and more is what I would share. Whenever Swami says, he says absolute truth. Every word he says is a truth. We just have to realize, I guess. So that's the work. Another thing is, that I showed that milestone of 0 Puttaparthi, if you guys have remembered in the previous slide. My point was that I take some random pictures with phone. But my point is that the distance between us and Swami, we have to constantly strive to reduce 0 kilometers, 0 meters, 0 centimeters, 0 nanometers. I don't know in spiritual terms what is the measurement, but we have to make that absolute 0 to be closest to Swami. So that's the message I took it from I wanted to share. Thank you, everyone.